Hello! I wanted to go ahead and remake the tutorial on installing the exoskeleton armor. Reason being is because it's actually got a couple less steps. There are fewer steps, um, and I also wanted to do it on an avatar that wasn't specifically the Nardo or the Rexoium, because this exosuit was designed to be able to fit just about any standard humanoid avatar, as long, of course, as it's not too blatantly cartoony or super outrageously uh, disproportionate. It should fit your avatars pretty decently. A lot of people ask me, is this Rex only? No, it is not Rex only. I'm the Rex. I use the Rex a lot. It's whatever. Anyway, so let's put it on a wagon today. So once you got, all you got to do is download the thingy. You go to assets, import custom package, grab the exosuit, and then drop the let's see here, drop the prefab into your scene. It's going to be in the folder with my name in it, Delirious Jack's exosuit and equipment, and then you're going to find the prefab, the exosystem avatar prefab. You drop that next to your avatar. And you'll see it in your scene here, kind of just overlaying. You'll have these little white hands. Those are for reference later. Um, and yeah, you're good to get started. So what we're going to do first is we're going to get the base positions and everything down so that you guys can just attach it to your avatar with the parent constraints that are included pre-installed, and then we'll just merge the FX parameters and menu system. So let's go ahead and start by dropping down in the hierarchy. We're going to drop down the exosystem avatar prefab, and we're going to see a slot here called accessories. So this is what's actually going to be put on your avatar. So what we're going to do first, before we forget, is we're going to right-click on the exosystem avatar prefab. Do not keep me. We're going to right-click on that up in our hierarchy here. And we're going to go down to prefab and unpack completely. If you have VRC Fury, it's going to be like, don't do that, and just say I don't care, because I have VRC Fury. We're not using you today. And then we've got now the accessories thing is unlocked. We can just drag the accessories up onto the wagon, and now it's in the wagon itself. So the exosystem thingy here, right here, we can just delete that, because now your accessories are in the wagon itself, or whatever avatar you're using. So yes, you can see it's still there in the scene. We're all good. So the accessories does have to be under the base slot of your avatar, which means you can't put it in anything else. Like we can't stick it in the body. Cannot do that. We have to make sure that it's next to the body and the armature and stuff like that. It's as high up into the hierarchy as it goes. So it's one of the first things you see when you drop down your avatar root slot. So now that we've got that in there, should look about like this. What we're going to do next is we're going to start positioning the bones so that it matches your avatar a little bit better. Let's see. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop down accessories. And what you're going to see next is weapons, sci-fi arm tech pad, V2, and the exoskeleton armor. Drop down the exoskeleton armor. And what you're going to see is core armature. Now, this is very important. Please keep this note. We're only going to mess with the core armature. This little regular armature here, leave that alone until the very last step. If it's absolutely necessary, I will show you what you can do in here, but leave that alone. Only make your first adjustments in the core armature. So we're going to drop that down, and I'm going to grab the hips. So first thing we note is that it's a little bit too far back. There's some space on the back of the spine. There's some space behind the hips. And the knees and the ankle are all too far back. The feet are too far back on the exoskeleton. So we're going to grab the hip bone, and we're just going to move the hip bone in the core armature of the exoskeleton. We're going to move that forward just a little bit until it about matches our avatar, a little bit more centered. So shoulders centered, hips are centered, knees are almost centered, and the ankle is almost centered as well. So main thing we want really is we want this right here. We're mostly focused on the hips and the spine. So as long as those are those are looking good, they're just barely pressed up against the back here, maybe with a little bit of breathing room, and that's it. So that's where we want to get started. From there, it's going to be a matter of adjusting some of the rotations on the legs and arms, and of course, any initial scaling that you may want to do. If you do need to scale the like, let's say for example, if it was scaled, like if you pop it on your avatar and it's looking like this, you would just scale the we would just scale the accessories up or down depending. So right here we can see that it's actually sitting a little bit low on the shoulders. So I'll just bring it ever so slightly, just a pinch, just a little bit, tiny bit. If I hold Alt, I think it goes slower. Oh no, that's if I scale it over there. Anyway, so yeah, so just scale it up or down, little tiny bits and pieces. All right, so it's sitting right on the shoulder there. Scaling looks really good. It looks like it's fitting pretty decently. All right, so now let's fine tune a couple of the limbs. So again, in the core armature of the exoskeleton, I'm going to drop down the hips and grab the left and right leg. And I'm going to switch to rotation mode. And I'm going to switch my transform relevance mode down to local. Excuse me. And then I'm just going to grab going to rotate by the x-axis and just bring it forward. And I am, at the moment, I'm just grabbing the X up here in the inspector. I'm just grabbing the letter X on the rotation to do the rotations very slowly and kind of give it a nice finite adjustments without making it veer left or right. All right, cool. So now that we've done that, we're going to drop down each leg and grab each knee. Same thing, grabbing the X on the rotation up in the inspector. I'm just going to pull that back a little bit until the ankle is repositioned back onto the center of about where the actual ankle is. And then, pardon me one moment. Goodness gracious, I drank way too much coffee way too fast. All right, next up, we're going to take a look at the toesies here, make sure that those are aligned. So it looks like everything is already lined. We don't actually have to make any adjustments here. The marker here that kind of wraps around the foot is already positioned where it needs to be. So we don't actually have to do very much. If you did, what you can do is you can drop down the left and right knee, grab the top foot. This is basically this is technically the ankle. This is what digitigrade means, is that this is technically the ankle. And then when you drop that further down, the left ankle and right ankle bone are technically the ball of the foot, but for the sake of universality in the lingo, so to speak, it's just, called this or that. But if you need to, you can make smaller adjustments to things like the toes. You can kind of adjust those here. You can also scale them a little bit if your feet are bigger or smaller than, oh, there it is, the left ankle. So if you grab the ankles, you can scale the ankles up or down a little bit to, I'm sorry, not scale, rotate. Again, sorry, it's all rotation based. I'm sorry. So you can basically just rotate and position everything so that it fits your avatar. Not scale. I'm sorry, that was my mistake. Do not scale. You just position and rotate. So once it's looking like this, we're good to go to the next bit. Let's go ahead and get the arms. We're going to close up the legs real quick. Go down to the spine. We got the left shoulder and we got the right shoulder. Something to keep in mind, the left and right shoulders are technically clavicle bones, so they don't actually rotate, or we don't use them. We don't use the shoulder bones to rotate and make adjustments at this point, because technically the clavicle bones are always resting in a default T-pose. So we're just going to rotate the arms. So if I just use the, again, if I'm adjusting with the X rotation. If I select the left and right arm and grab the X and the rotation of the inspector, I can just bring this down until what we're looking for is we're looking for the elbow to hit about the right height. So we'll worry about the arm a little bit later. So we're just gonna bring that down, make sure that the elbow is matched up. Looks like we could use a little bit of rotating it back, so I will also rotate it back on the Z-axis. However, this is where we're gonna have to get some desynchronization going because these will not synchronously rotate. So I'm gonna grab the left arm. I'm gonna view all of this from the top. I'm gonna rotate the left arm back on the Z-axis just a little bit. Then I'm gonna try and eyeball it and match the right. There. All right, so now we're gonna drop down the elbows. Do the same thing. We're gonna find our, drop down the arms, I'm sorry, and find our elbows. And same thing, Z-axis, we're gonna rotate that until the hand is a little bit more forward. So it's about roughly 30 degrees. So this one should be, I think, negative 30 degrees. Or not quite so. Whatever. Eyeball it, make sure it's close. This is up to you. Kind of making it match your avatar as best you can. So once you get it to about there, now we're going to rotate it on the X-axis to make the hand. So what we're doing is we're bringing this thing here where the hand actually comes down to meet the top of the hand. So we're going to bring this down a little bit. And if you need to, you can position and rotate the actual, drop this down, we'll find the wrist. You can actually do a little bit of adjustment on the wrist as well, depending on the default pose of your avatar. All we're doing is we're just aligning everything. This is all kind of just eyeball-y, make it fit, make it align, that kind of stuff. So get it right about there. So now that we've got it closer to the hand, we can actually see that I've rotated them too far forward. So I'm going to start with the right hand here, and I'm going to grab the right elbow, and I'm going to grab the Z-axis and bring it back. I want the palm reference here to be right in the middle on top of the actual palm of the avatar. From there, I can grab the right wrist itself, and I can do some rotations here to help better match the position of the actual hand and the rotation of the hand. And we can also, we're using this white hand reference to kind of help us initially here. So this is a really great starting point. I will rotate it down just a little bit on the X just to get those fingers a little bit closer. And there we go. We're looking really good over there. So we're going to go ahead and kind of do the same thing over here. Make sure the elbow, the left elbow, is rotated on a similar matching point here. Kind of get that there. And we're going to drop down and get the left wrist. And we're going to do the same thing. Make sure that it's just kind of angled so the fingers are in there good. And the rotation of the X brings the fingers down into the palm properly, or down into the actual fingers itself properly. And now we are fully aligned and ready to go. Next thing we want to take a look at, however, before we get too excited, we're going to just glance at the, up here you're going to find the Sci-Fi Arm Tack Pad V2. We're going to show that real quick. And we're just going to take a look at it while we make some adjustments. So under the left elbow, you'll find an Adjust Wrist Pad. So here we can make adjustments to this wrist pad without having to do any unparenting or reparenting. So grabbing the Adjust Wrist Pad under the left elbow of the core armature, I'm just going to position this back a little bit because it looks like it intersects with the thumb there a little bit too much for my liking. So I'm going to bring it back, and then I'm going to press it back up against the hand itself just a little bit more. And then what I can do is I can click on the straps of the wrist pad itself. So once I've got the straps selected, you've got blend shapes over here to actually make it fit the arm a little bit better and wrapped around the actual shape of your character's arm. Once we've made those adjustments and you like the way the wrist pad rests on your arm, we can collapse the Sci-Fi Arm Tack Pad, and then we can uncheck it in the inspector up here and hide it because that's actually controlled by a toggle. All right, so once you've done all that, the only thing that's left is to parent the bone references from the actual avatar itself. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start from, let's see here. So what you'll notice here is that as you're kind of checking the core armature bones, you'll find that there's a neck, head, and adjust gas mask. We're going to do that step last, but that's very similar to the adjust wrist pad. So now that we've done all that, what we're going to do is I'm going to collapse the head so we don't get confused there. And then I am going to grab the right wrist. So what we're going to do is we're going to start from the very bottom. We don't need the tail rotation. That was just a leftover from when I was analyzing another armature. So you can just ignore that. So we're going to start with the right wrist. And what we're going to do is we're going to drop down the armature of the wagon or whatever avatar it is you're installing this onto. And we're going to drop down the spine, chest, shoulder, and hand and right. So we're going to match each bone to the reference that we need to put into these parent constraint slots over here. So before you do anything with the parent constraint slots, I just want to warn you, do not push any buttons in the parent constraints, because if you just click activate, it might actually break things. So don't go clicking buttons until I let you know it's okay to do so. That's just the way that Unity works. So and many times I've given people personal tutorials and actually sat in video calls with them, and I'll say, all right, now don't click that button, and they'll say, what? And then they'll click the button I just told them not to click. So if you've already started clicking buttons, you know what? Elbozo. So anyway, from here, we're going to grab the right wrist of the exosuit core armature, and we're going to grab the right hand and put it into the source slot of the parent constraint over here. And we're going to do that all the way up for each bone that matches. So the forearm, by the way, is the same as the elbow. So the elbow controls the forearm bone. So if it says elbow in the core armature, but it says forearm up in your avatar's armature, the forearm and the elbow it's the same joint right here. So just a heads up on that kind of thing. So just be wary of where the positions are. If you need to click on them to make sure you're grabbing the right one, like, am I grabbing the right one if I click on forearm? Okay, it's in the same spot. Good. So it's the same spot as the elbow. So yeah, so use forearm as the elbow. And we're going to do that going all the way, traveling up the length of the arm, and then the right shoulder, shoulder R. There we go. Good. So now we're going to grab the head, strap down the neck, put the head in there, neck, put the neck in there. And if you need to pause the video or skip ahead, whatever you need to, feel free. This is just a little bit tedious, so you don't have to worry about following me along perfectly, as long as you understand the principle. Now for the left wrist, same thing. I can collapse the right shoulder. All right, so now the hand target. Elbow, forearm. Let's see here. Oops. Yeah. So left wrist is left hand. Left elbow is left forearm. And then left arm is the upper arm. I want to make sure I don't speed my way through this too quickly. Okay, good. Left arm, upper arm, and then left shoulder, shoulder, L. Perfect. So now grab the chest, stick the chest reference in there. If you do have an avatar that has a chest and chest upper, use the chest upper as the target source for this parent constraint on the chest and the core armature. Now the spine. All right, so that's it for the upper portion of the body. I'm going to go ahead and collapse the spine for now, and I'm going to bring out the legs all the way down to the toe. And do the same thing up here. Thigh down to the toe, and thigh down to the toe. All right, so same thing. Right toe, toe right, stick that all in there, go and then work your way up. However, something to keep note. I'm going to do the right toe, and then I'll do the right ankle. So the right ankle is actually going to use the right foot of the wagon because the wagon is not rigged for digitigrade. The exoskeleton armor is rigged to support a digitigrade avatar, which means if you've got the Capcayin, or if you've got the Rezillo's Rexolium that has the digitigrade setting that actually allows your ankles to your ankles to bend right here, it does support that. However, on the wagon, it does not. On an avatar that does support ankle bending on a digitigrade avatar, you would just match the bones the same way, working your way up from the toe or down from the thigh and leg. But here, because this avatar does not, we're going to so you got the toe, then the ankle. So the ankle of the exoskeleton armor is going to use the foot of the wagon, and the top foot R and the right knee are both going to use the right shin, and the shin is the same as the knee when it comes to the armature bones. So the shin and the knee are basically the same. The top foot R, which is this bendy ankle up here, and the knee are going to use the shin of the wagon. Now, if it was a digitigrade avatar, you would just match the bone to the position it's closest to. So again, like if you wanted to click on the shin, shin. So that's how I know where the knee is. Then the top foot. If you clicked on it and there was one up here, then you would just match the exoskeleton core armature's parent reference to whatever was floating right here. But again, since there is not one, the top foot and the knee will both use just the knee because there's no necessary bending here. So we're not worried about that. So now that we've assigned that parent, we're going to go up to the right leg. That is the right thigh. So I'm just going to double check and make sure I got all of the right side. Okay, yeah, so that's all right side. So now I can collapse the right leg on both. And now we can do the left. So left toe, left ankle is the left foot. The digitigrade ankle here and the knee both take from the shin, which is basically the bend point of the knee. And again, if you had like the Rex or the Cap Kiyin, you would just do the top foot to the top foot, and then the knee to the knee. And then left leg, that's the left thigh. Sweet. So that's pretty much it. Last one would be the hips. So you just grab the hips, shove the hips, and we are good. So now that we've assigned all of the parents, I'm going to drop down all the bones again. And I'm just going to select, either you can shift click or control click. So I'm going to, just to kind of demonstrate it, I'm going to click the hips and the core armature of the exosuit, and I'm going to shift click all the way down to the right wrist. Now, on the right, you're going to see that the parent constraint disappeared. That's because we have to deselect anything that doesn't have the same matching component. And that is just the adjuster for the wrist pad at the moment. So I'm going to control click the wrist pad. If you still can't see it, then check the wrist, the right wrist and the left wrist. You don't want to have the selection of the hand EQ tar left. You don't want to have the selection of the adjust wrist pad. You do not want to have the selection of the hand EQ tar right. And you also do not want to have the selection of the adjust gas mask. So if you have the hips and all of the child bones completely shown and revealed, this is exactly what your selection should look like. If you want to pause and match, make sure it looks exactly like this. If you want to pause the video and just double check, make sure this is what you got, go ahead. And once you've done that, now we're going to come up to the parent constraint and not click any buttons. Remember, one step at a time. We're going to drop down where it says constraint settings. Now this is why these steps are important. Because if we clicked anything incorrectly here, you might break everything. Because, Unity. So what we're going to do is we're going to check the box, not click the button. We're going to check the box that says is active. Then we're going to check the box that says lock. And that's how we get everything attached. Now, we can close the core armature. We're basically done. If you want to do any finite adjustments with the actual look and visuals here, so now we can actually take a look at the armature, the regular armature in the exoskeleton. There are a few things we can adjust here. We've got the hips front. Hips front is if you want to change the scaling of this thingy right here just to make sure that it loops around your avatar like a belt. I like to leave a little bit of a gap in case I put some clothes on. So that's in the hips, is your hips front. And then if you want to go into the chest, you've got your front chest and your chest display. The front chest is, of course, this ring that fits around your chest. I like it to fit on the shoulders and just in front of the pecs. And you can also move it back and forth just a little bit, just a little bit. I would. It's better to scale it than to move it. This avatar has a lot of fluff, so I'm kind of ignoring that and making it sink into the fluff a little bit. There we go. So the chest display is for a portion of the armor. So if you want to adjust the chest display now, you would go down to the exoskeleton slot down here underneath the core armature, drop that down, and just activate the armor slot. And that's what this thingy right here is. So you can click on the chest display bone and switch to rotate mode. And you can either rotate this in, so it's just another piece of the armor, if you don't want to use that as a screen thing, or you can leave it rotated out, and you can try and decorate some pretty little screen effects in here if you want. That's up to you. However you want to use that, or if you want to go crazy and add some animations that toggles it to open up, whatever. Up to you. But that's where you would control that. So now that we've made those adjustments, we can hide the armor. We don't want that left on. And let's see here. So that's that right there. That we turned back off. Now we can close the exoskeleton. And we're going to double check. If we need to make any adjustments to the size of the hands and feet, we can do... this is where we would do the scaling of the hands and the feet. Nothing else, just the hands and the feet. You want to be very cautious with that. So for example, if I come down here, and let's say the feet are actually way smaller than these massive paws. If we go down into the right thigh, right upper leg, there's a bunch of stuff in here. This is a lot of controlling bones. Go all the way down. This, down here. There we go. So this is where you could make some adjustments to things like the scale of the right toe. If we turn the armor, we can actually turn the armor back on here. So with these bones revealed, we can change the scale, not the position because it's parent constrained. We can change the scale of the right toe a little bit, or we can adjust the position and size of the actual armor plating. So if you have a human avatar, you can actually make the adjustments here. So let's say, for example, if you've got a human avatar that doesn't have digitigrade legs, you can actually move these plates to match where your avatar's actual ankles are. You can do the same thing with your shin guard, kind of move that around, make some rotation adjustments if you need. And then you can do the same thing to your toe armor here. You can rotate it up and down to match your boot, or move it forward or backwards to match your boot, however you need to do that. Just be very slow and methodical and cautious, and just take your time with that. This is a part of the process where it's meant to be relaxed and just kind of fine-tuning. So that's where you would make those adjustments. Once you've done that and you like how your feet and your hands are positioned, the hands you don't really need to worry about because there's nothing that wraps around your hand. It's mostly just from your knee down here that you would make those adjustments. So we've got the right shin guard, the ankle armor, the right toe for scale, and then the right top armor and the right toe armor. You can make adjustments to those. You can also do the same on the left leg. Once you've refined that to the way that you want it, let's see here, we can go ahead and collapse the armature again. Now let's make sure that our tools and our equipables are going to be in the right position. For that, I made these references here. In order to adjust this, you're going to drop down your... I'm going to close this one up. We're going to go into the core armature. And to adjust this, I'm going to close up the hips. We don't need that. Close up the right leg. Don't need that. We can close up, actually I'll leave that. So we're going to grab the hand EQ tar left and hand EQ tar right. Those are under your wrist bones. So what we're going to start by doing is I'm just going to position based on, let's see here. What can I mess with? Whoops. Yeah, I think it's just wise just to do this one at a time. All right, I'm going to grab the right hand, and I'm going to position the palm to match. This is where I want it to match the palm of the avatar, so I'm going to move it right about there, and then I'm going to rotate it up just a little bit, and then I'm going to position it back a little bit. So the fingers align a little bit better. So once all your fingers align, you basically just want the palm, the bases of the fingers to all align here, and then kind of match the thumb as best you can as well, kind of right in the middle. Kind of just get it to where it's as close as it can be, right? And then we're going to go over to the right hand and do the same thing. Push it in, rotate it up, move it back, and then make sure that the fingers and the thumb match as best you can. There we go. That's it. Really simple, really easy. If you want to make sure that they're even, you can open up more screens to kind of view them from different angles or zoom out and match them. However you want to go about this process, it's up to you. But as long as they're as close as they can be to each hand, that's about what you want, and you want to make sure that they're aligned with the palm. Don't worry about the back of the hand. That's not really super relevant. So let's see here, right about there. We want the rotation to be as much based on the rotation of the actual palm. The fingers might curl or might be uncurled a little bit more or less depending on your avatar. So that's about what we want there. There we go. Yeah, so we want the palm to be flat. We want the palms to be flat with one another. All right, so that is, yeah, we're doing good. All right, awesome. So now that we've done that, we can, let's see here, we can hide the armor. So I'm going to drop down the exoskeleton, grab the armor, hide that. And then lastly, we're going to make an adjustment to the mask. So let's activate the mask. So over here in the hierarchy, actually I'm going to collapse the right and left shoulder so nothing's in our way here. We don't need those anymore. We're going to go to the responder stuff slot, and we're going to activate that. And then I'm going to drop that down, drop down gas mask, and then click on mask underscore pivot. What we're going to do is over here in the weights, I'm going to set the last weight, which is the adjust gas mask source. I'm going to set that to 1, and I'm going to set the rest pose to 0. So now we're going to adjust the gas mask. We're just going to position it, rotate it however you need to. There we go. And then the mask pivot, we can scale the mask pivot. There we go. So you can scale the mask pivot down here, and then to position and rotate it, you just move the adjust gas mask. Okay. So once you've got that where you want it, you can also go in to the mask mesh, and there's a blend shape for nose height. So you can wrap this up above your nose a little bit better, or push it down, bring it up, down, whatever. Just kind of make little adjustments that help you. What you want to make sure that you do is you make sure that this does not come up over the front of your eyes. You will see this. It's an immersive edition, so you will see this at the bottom of your screen. So just make sure you don't lift that above too high. If you do this, this is for like if you're wearing it on a human and the nose is much lower and you rotate the mask forward. So you just want this to be just at the tip of your nose, and that's it. So just bear that in mind. Once you've done that, we can collapse responder stuff, and we can toggle that, or I'm sorry, wait, hang on, go back into the mask pivot, and we're going to reset. So the rest pose over here, the weight is set to 1, and the adjust gas mask weight is set to 0. There we go. So that's on the mask pivot right here. So that's making sure that it's fit to your avatar. We're just making sure that's fine-tuned. And then we're going to collapse that, collapse responder stuff, and we're going to turn the responder stuff off. All right, so now that you've done all that, the last steps are to merge the FX parameters and the menu. So in order to do that, I'm just going to very quickly make sure I actually did that. Okay, so I just won't click the button. So what we're going to do is we're going to, if you have, you should have the Creator Companion if we're doing this for VRChat. Make sure you have the VR Labs Avatar 3.0 Manager installed. That's just one of the additions that you can activate in the Creator Companion settings. That should be in here. So yeah, that's going to be this one right here. You want to make sure that's added and up to date. So we're going to go to VR Labs, Avatar 3.0 Manager, and we'll get this window. So with that, we're going to go up here to this little button here for the layers. We're going to drop down this FX one right here. We're going to scroll down, and then you're going to click Add Controller to Merge. It's going to drop this down, and then in your asset browser, you're going to go back to find My Stuff, go to the Exosuit, and you're going to find the FX_X equipment. You're going to drag that up into the controller reference here, and then you would go down and you would click Merge on Current. I'm going to just clear it because I already did earlier because I've recorded this video a lot. So once you've clicked Merge on Current, you're done there. Then you're going to go up here to this little tab, this little button right here. It has like 3 bars. Click on that. And what you're going to do is you're going to, where it says, let's see here. Where is it? There it is. So where you've got, oh, I'm sorry, I skipped a step. If this is all empty, by the way, if this is all just empty and there's nothing really here, it'll say none VRC descriptor. You just drag your avatar into that. My bad, I skipped that step. So then from there, you would drop down the FX, add your stuff, click copy over, and then go to the 3 bars. Then you would scroll down to the bottom of this, and then you would drag pair_X equipment. You would just drag that up into this right here, and then you would click copy parameters, and then it would add all these in here. Once you've done that, you can go back to your scene view, and in your wagon route here, on the right, if you select that, on the right in the inspector, you scroll down to find your menu. Click on the menu, and then click on the menu reference here in your browser when it pops up. And then over here, you're going to add a control. You can call it something like Exosuit. And then you would set it with this drop down to submenu, and you would select or drag in menu_X equipment. And then once that's selected and put in here as the reference, that's where you would find that here in the under the folder from my name and then Exosuit and equipment. That's where you find that menu. You just put that right in here in whatever button you just made. Once you've done that, you are done. This wagon, we can save our scene. This wagon now has the Exosuit completely installed and ready to go. To test it, I'm going to collapse this real quick. You can go up to Tools and use the Gesture Manager Emulator. Same thing as the Avatar Manager. You have to make sure that's installed through your Creator Companion. That's going to be AV3 Emulator right here. So when you click Tools and click Gesture Manager Emulator, it's going to add this slot to your hierarchy. You just click on that and click Enter Play Mode. Once you're in your play mode and it's playing, you're going to have a toy menu over here that you can kind of test. Go in, find the Exosuit. You can toggle it on, see that it's working, all your toggles. each of these toggles you would kind of just play with and learn as you go. And there we go. So everything looks like it works. If you're able to go in and I scared myself. If you're able to go in and toggle all these items on, just like I'm doing right now. See, there's our gas mask. All these items. So now, if it looks like this, and you're able to play with all the toggles over here, you're good to go. You're done. You can upload your avatar. Everything's done. I think we covered everything. We covered all the adjustments, all the adjusters. If you have any comments or feedback, let me know. And if you have anybody asking you about how sick, awesome that armor is, maybe it's awesome. It's awesome. I'll link over here. Let's go like you, Puka. Let them know they can get it from here because it's cool. Yeah. Anyway, all right. That's it. You all have a good one. I'm gonna go melt.